Hi, this is John from Horsepower Freaks. Today I'm going to show you how to test the map sensor in your turbocharged equipped M3. First, what you'll need to do is visit either the troubleshooting section at horsepowerfreaks.com or visit AEM directly and download the voltage chart. Now, if you look at the map sensor, there's a part number on it, and the part number should directly correspond with the number on the chart. So make sure you have the right chart. So I'm going to show you two ways how to do this. One, the first way will be the lab way of how to do this, and chances are most of you will not have the equipment to do that. So I'll also show you the way to do it in the vehicle. So what we'll need is an adjustable voltage power source. We'll need a multimeter. We'll need a couple of wires with alligator clips on them. And we'll need the pigtail for the sensor. So what we want to do is basically go ahead and flip on your power source and make sure it's regulated to 5 volts. As you can see, you can regulate the voltage up and down. So you want to regulate it to about 5 volts. I like to hit it dead on the money at 5 volts. All these sensors run off of 5 volts. So once that's at 5 volts, you can shut the power source off. Connect the negative on the power source to wire A on the pigtail. Now if you look at the pigtail, I've already have the wires labeled A, B, and C, but if you look at the plug closely, you can see that the plug's labeled as well. A, B, and C on the back. So your A is going to be a black wire, which is going to be the ground. Your B is going to be a red wire, which is going to be the power source. And your C is going to be the sensor wire. So connect the negative on the power source to the black wire, wire A. Connect the positive on the power source to the red wire, B. And go ahead and plug that into the sensor. Now turn on your multimeter to volts DC. And then go ahead and flip on your power source. Make sure to keep an eye on it, make sure it stays at 5 volts. And what we'll do is go ahead and we'll test in between the negative on the sensor and the sensing wire. So what I'll do is take my negative and put it on the negative for the sensor, and I'll take my positive and put it on the sensing wire. And go ahead and note your findings. Here I have 1.71 volts. Now if I go back to the chart, 1.71 falls right in between here. See, the first block I have is 1.5, the second block I have is 1.75. So it falls pretty much smack dab right in the middle. And if you follow the chart up, this is a 0 pound line right here. So the sensor checks out good because there is no pressure on it right now. Now what I'm going to show you how to do is the in-vehicle test. Now I'm going to keep using my power source to mimic the vehicle's electrical system. So basically you can do this with it still installed in the vehicle. Just make sure the vehicle is not running, and when it is not running, your map sensor should be at ambient pressure, which should be 0. Unless you're extremely high or low elevation, it should be 0. So what you'll need to get for this test is 2 paper clips and a multimeter. So the first test I'm going to run is to make sure that the sensor is getting the right input voltage, because if the sensor is not getting the right input voltage, obviously the output voltage, the sensor voltage, is going to be skewed as well. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my paper clip and push it down into the plug through the rubber weather insulation here, and basically feel to make sure I make contact with the terminal at the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that to B, the power wire, and I will do that to A as well, which is the grounding wire. Now I'm going to check my negative on the grounding wire and my positive on the power wire, and I should have a 5 volts. As you can see, I don't have anything on my multimeter, which means I'm probably not making contact with the terminal. So just play with a little bit, and you should get contact. Still not. Okay, as you can see, I do have my 5 volts. So make sure you have 5 volts in between terminals A and B on your harness. And if you don't have 5 volts, you may have another electrical issue somewhere else in the car. And to note, while you're doing this, the key needs to be on. Not running, but the key does need to be on, because without the key on, you won't have power to these terminals. So let me double check that again. Alright, I do have my solid 5 volts. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull the paper clip out of the power feed to the sensor and put it into the sensor wire, which is C. It's going to be a green wire on the plug. Now I'm going to go ahead and test in between the ground and the sensor wire. Go ahead and flip it that way. The negative on the ground and the positive on the sensor wire. And I have a reading of 1.7 volts. Now if I follow my chart once again, 1.5, 1.7, that falls right in between the middle, and if you follow it up, that's the 0 pound line right there. So if your sensor does not fall within the 0 pound line or is way off the chart, then you'll know right there that your map sensor is not reading correctly.